From the album The Shepherd's Dog, released last year, that's Iron and Wine, and the track Love Song of the Buzzard, which will feature on a new EP released on the 2nd of June.
Sunday nights on 6.
BBC Six Music.
I am afraid to say that I allowed Sammy to slip through my net last week. Don't know how that happened, Sammy, but it was a big weekend.
It was a huge Sunday.
It was a huge Sunday, and we forgot to get to your musical choice. I do apologise for that. Don't know how that happened.
That's all right, because this week I haven't had to think so much about the music, so I've been harvesting new music.
Oh, good. Have you anything that's landed in your
lined
net?
up for the next few weeks, yeah.
Really good. You've landed a couple of gems. We'll look forward to them. You've gutted them. Just going to try and take this fish analogy on as long as I can. So anyway, what have you got for us this week that was left over from last?
I was surprised when I looked back over the sheets, the week sheets, that I'd never played any Ben Folds. We've played Rufus Wainwright a couple of times, and I do kind of hold him in the same esteem as Rufus Wainwright. He's a massive artist. There's loads to go into if you quite like the sound of this. I thought I'd pick a cover. I don't know why. He's got some great stuff himself. Ben Folds 5 was the first kind of get up, so have a look at the early stuff, but all of it's pretty much brilliant. And this is his cover of the Divine Comedy, Songs of Love.
Thank you. Sammy's choice on the Steve Show this week. What the hell were you thinking? What is it? No, it is lovely.
It's Songs of Love, and it's covered by Ben Folds. It's on the EP Sunny 16, but it's also on the big amalgamation of many EPs, Super Sunny Speed Graphic, which was released in 2006. He's touring the UK soon, so if you like him, go and see him.
Thank you very much indeed.
Now, Steve, as regular listeners will know, we have a little slot where I discuss gentlemanly and ungentlemanly behaviour, and
Indeed.
I draw a very, very firm line between the two.
Yes.
And there are two things I want to bring up. First of all, the question I'm asked probably more often than any other question is, how far is it okay to riff when the invitation says black tie?
Right.
And Steve, I'm drawing attention to you
Yes.
on this because as you strolled into your stretch limo last week,
Yes.
and as we saw you on the television, you were surrounded by people in black ties, and there
Yes.
you were in a blue suit.
Yes. Right, what's your
Interesting.
question?
Well, my question is, did you know, you knew it was black tie?
Yes.
Were you being, what was the reasoning behind the suit?
Rufus, have you ever been 6'7"? If so, you will know it is very tricky to get a suit of any description what fits well for when you are going on the telly.
Right.
And I don't want to name names, but I had a tailor who was working on a suit.
Yeah.
Can't find him for love nor money. He appears to have fallen off the face of the earth.
Right.
With some of my cash.
Yes.
So I was forced last minute to dive into another suit.
Yeah.
Which you'll notice was of the dark blue persuasion.
Yes, yeah.
And I garnished it with
Yeah.
a blue shirt and a blue tie.
Yeah,
Yes, you're saying to me it's not, strictly speaking, black tie.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, does the sort of fact that I'm a bit show busy sort of excuse me in some way?
Well, that's the thing, and that's, the question that people often ask me is how far can you go? Because you see, Nicolas Cage at the Oscars, and he'll have a Nehru collar.
Yeah.
He'll have maybe Brad Pitt will wear a kind of thin leather tie.
Yeah, or maybe no tie.
No tie, exactly.
I know,
Or Nick Park, you remember, a revolving or a
Sure.
giant bow tie.
Yeah.
I think the most tragic look you can go with actually is the kind of Eric Bana at the premiere of The Other Berlin Girl, wearing a kind of ill-fitting dinner jacket and a clip-on bow tie that he looked like
But
he was going
surely
to a
he's
trade
done that in a
conference.
kind of, I obviously could afford a highly expensive suit. I'm going a little bit off
I
the
don't
wall here.
know. He looked really, really ordinary. He looked like someone on the tube on the way to a kind of conference
Yes.
event,
Paul Merton was far worse than me. He appeared to be wearing some kind of Bermuda shirt.
That's right, with cuffs hanging out the end with no cufflinks, and even Bruce Forsyth did go. He did say black tie on the invite, you know. Merton looked a little bit.
I once saw John O'Coleman at an awards do. He had the tuxedo top half, lower half, shorts. He was wearing shorts.
He didn't care who he upset.
He's a big
got
fella.
similar problems to you. You're quite
That's
tall
absolutely right.
upwards, and he's quite tall
Yeah,
sideways.
but I can find a pair of trousers. I mean, a
wear
pair
blue.
of shorts. But yes, they were blue. I mean, I do apologise if I've upset my legion of fans. The one thing I like is how rarefied this conversation is for Six Music. As we've said in the past, many of our listeners, students or smackheads, are they really concerning themselves with the etiquette?
You'd be staggered. The number of emails about sock suspenders, about how much handkerchief you should showing out of your blazer pocket, things like that. It's breathtaking.
I do apologise once again for all those people I feel I've let down. How do you know what Eric Bana was wearing? Do you go along to all red carpet events and just peer over to check.
I keep a close eye on on what male movie stars are wearing in preparation for my own imminent appearance at such award ceremonies.
Of course.
How far am I going to go?
We're looking forward to seeing you in, of course, James Bond film.
Of course, exactly, November the 7th.
I should have asked Dame Judy about that, but she was such a loser. I didn't want to talk with her.
We've had another email about ungentlemanly behaviour. This one is from Alice. She's emailed in saying, a couple of weeks ago I was at a gig on my own when a man started talking to me. He was quite camp, so I assumed it was just friendly chatting. He asked if I'd be his gig friend. I'm not sure about that, but, you know, and I said okay. Then he explained that a lot of the songs meant a lot to him and asked if he could hold my hand during them.
Ooh, this is breathtakingly audacious.
Being somebody who quite appreciates personal space, I wanted to say no, but I felt as if this would be rude and impolite, so reluctantly said, well, let's see how it goes, and hoped he'd get the hint. But when the music started, he grabbed my hand and began stroking and fondling it.
Whoa!
What should I have done? Rufus, the rules of gentlemanly conduct only work when they're respected by others. This is something
very
I've said
true.
from day one.
You have said this from day one.
I could have gone to get a drink and found a different position to stand in, but I had a really good view from where I was standing. I didn't want to sacrifice this. When I finally did edge away, he swapped places with some girls, so he was standing next to me again. While he wasn't threatening, and you see, I disagree with that, I did feel uncomfortable, particularly as when he mentioned Regina Spektor, and I said I wasn't really a fan, he looked shocked, confused, and above all, angry.
Whoa!
So, Alice, you know, she says, what do you know, how could I have dealt with this? Obviously, you've got to be very firm. You've got to do the thing of looking like you're going to return the affection to the hand and then grab it and slowly remove it and say, I'm sorry, that's not going to be appropriate. My boyfriend's coming. Or, you know, you can spin a lie if you like.
So you advocate lying in order to get
Oh, yeah. I think you can, because you're excusing their poor behaviour with a kind of white lie of your own. So you're kind of making the separation easier.
But isn't that exactly the kind of behaviour from that gentleman that, you know, you'll often find or read in those kind of trashy books about serial killers?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's exactly the sort of behaviour I'd expect.
And I think the fact that he, you know, she says he didn't seem threatening, he seemed just friendly. It's no.
Of course, that's how it starts.
He's a killer.
Himself to himself.
Of course, he kept himself to himself. How many neighbours have said that? Of course, he's kept himself to himself because he's busy sharpening his knives.
Yeah. When have you ever met a serial
digging
killer's,
a hole in the garage?
a serial killer's neighbour who said, yeah, we thought he might have been a serial killer.
He looked like a serial killer. He was
Never
constantly
say that.
covered in blood, screaming, I'm a murderer, and I love it.
And all those people went missing from the road.
Yeah.
So, Alice, I'm sorry, not to be more help, but and retrospectively, you know, you've just got to be firm with people like this, and if they're creepy, just back away.
Have you had a run-in with a serial killer? Get in touch. 64046 is the text. But if you've got any other gentlemanly queries for Rufus, then get in touch. Stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk. Thank you very much indeed. We'll squeeze in some Billy Stewart before the news. From the vaults of Chess Records, that's Billy Stewart and his 1966 scatty version of George Gershwin's classic Summertime. We have to go to the news. Back after that with live music from Connell and also TV illusionist Darren Brown.
On digital.
Oh, the Seahorses fans are going to be up in arms now as I'm talking over the next 2.5 minutes of guitar twaddle from John Squire. They're going to be furious. They've not heard this on the radio for years. It was out in, 1997? And this is their final moment. They've not thought to buy it themselves, of course, and listen to it on their iPod or other MP3 player. But now I'm talking over it. The blogs will be ablaze. But listen, we've got important admin to deal with before we get to Mr. Darren Brown. Sammy, you're furious.
Perturbed would be accurate. 3 or 4 people have got in touch saying that Ben Folds song's a rip-off of the Father Ted theme tune. It is the Father Ted theme tune. It's a cover of the Divine Comedy song Songs of Love, which was used as the Father Ted theme tune.
But in your perverse way, you didn't mention Father Ted, did you, when you introduced the song? Perhaps that would have...
I didn't feel I had to.
Well, a lot of, as I said before, we've got a lot of students, a lot of young people, a lot of smackheads listening. They need full information.
But let's name and shame those people, to be fair. We've got Robin, we've got Mike in the Wirral, Anne-Marie in London, Marty in Edinburgh. Six Music is the home of the music snob. And if you don't know stuff like this, frankly, tune into Jackie. Or something like
Jackie?
that. No, don't. Stay with us.
Who's Jackie?
Jackie, it's a radio station.
Is it? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it tied in with the Girls magazine?
No, not at all.
What the hell is Jackie?
Southwest London's not finest.
Really?
What kind of music is it playing?
Oh, just drivel.
Well, go on, it sounds like my cup of tea.
Yeah, well, I'll find out some more details during the next record.
It's what kind of music though, generally? What's the sort of
Just sort of 70s, 80s, 90s generic guff, really.
What, the best of today? Yeah, it sounds fantastic.
The best of yesterday, today, but not tomorrow.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely fantastic. Well, if you're not tuning into Jackie, then thanks for tuning into us. You also had a bit of other admin, didn't you, that you wanted to deal with?
Yeah, actually, we've had a text regarding the serial killer thing. A guy's texted in and said, I'm a single, quiet male in my mid-30s. I live alone and keep myself to myself. I clearly fit the profile of with a serial killer. How do I convince my neighbours this is not the case? Very difficult. Very difficult.
That is tricky. How do you convince your neighbours you're not a serial killer? Because as soon as you bring up the subject, do you think I'm a serial killer? You're asking for trouble.
You've got to, every time someone comes around to your house, they have to be seen to be leaving.
Yes,
So, you know,
yes, you've always got to very they've got to be kind of clanging things.
Yeah.
And
then just, when they leave, just lots of bye, see you again next week.
And you're completely safe and okay,
Yeah,
not be
yeah.
living under my bed for 6 months.
No, exactly.
If you've not got a proper job, make it seem as if you have. You know, go out in the morning, come back at a sensible time in the evening.
Yeah.
Don't be spotted hanging around the precinct, stuff like this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe whistling, and then as you unlock the door, just go, "Hello, dear."
Yeah,
That's
that
fine.
might be-
Pretend you've got a wife.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the best way to make people think you're not a serial killer.
Because otherwise you do turn into the character in Tom Waits's
Exactly.
what's
What are
he
you building in there?
Yeah.
You just get a mop and a hat and a dress, perhaps from an elderly dead relative, and put that in your conservatory and pretend it's your wife.
And regarding gig lunatics, Sarah in Leicester has texted in saying, a man I once accepted a drink from at a gig spat in my drink before throwing it in my face when I told him I couldn't stand Phil Collins.
Well, I'll tell you,
Collins fans are protective of their little boy
deeply.
fella. Yeah.
I was thinking the other day, he must be the least likely rock star. I can't think of anyone who's less likely to be a rock star than
And,
than Phil
the
Collins.
least liked rock star as well.
Well, possibly so. Although I have to say this, at New Year I spanned some tunes, quality house party, it was old school. I dropped in Susudio, it went down an absolute storm.
Yeah.
I've reclaimed it, and now I'm having another party, I'm thinking, and this may be controversial, I'm wondering if I can drop some Simply Red. I mean, that's how edgy I'm going to try and get.
Something got me started about
It's a
2 minutes
great
past
tune.
midnight.
It's
Come
a
on.
great tune,
Yeah,
or possibly the one about the roller coaster.
Yeah.
Fairground.
Just re-released that album with a newspaper. You've got to question the value of music when it's re-released with a newspaper.
Well, we shall see. I'm going to play that so in a couple of weeks' time. I'll let you know how I get on. Maybe do a live OB from there. We can see how the reaction is. We have to get to Darren Brown quickly. He's a busy man. He's got more important things to do than talk to us. So, Rufus, a musical choice from you.
Yes, this is a track that I'd rediscovered by using my shuffle on my iPod or
There are
other
many
MP3
MP3s
players. It's a track from 1970, and it's by The Band from their album The Band, and it's called King Harvest Has Surely Come.
Oh, thank you very much. Rufus's choice on the Steve Show this week, and remind us what it was.
That was The Band with the song King Harvest Has Surely Come.
Thank you very much indeed. Steve Show 6 Music with me, Steve Merchant, and my little gang here, and I'm very pleased to welcome TV illusionist and all-round good egg, it's Darren Brown. Hello. You're stuffing your face there with some kind of cake.
Cake.
Where was that from, Sammy?
That was cake.
Am I allowed to say?
Yeah.
That was from Costco.
Costco, is it
Warehouse
nice?
extraordinaire.
It's very nice. It's lemony, but with icing, and it's like a brioche, isn't it? Only with lemon and icing.
Thanks for coming in.
Hey,
Darren Brown. More cake reviews with
It was
Darren next
lovely
week.
to meet you.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
It's lovely to have you here on a Sunday. I think as most Darren fans would find it hard to think what you might be doing on a Sunday afternoon. I like to picture you perhaps in some kind of mansion, surrounded only by candles, perhaps playing the harpsichord. Is that the sort of way that we would normally find you Sunday afternoon? Or are you just perhaps watching Top Gear on the Dave channel?
I was painting, actually.
You were painting?
I was painting when you very kindly rang.
Sure, and so, we've had a guest drop out. Can you
Yeah.
we did have a guest. We never have a guest.
No. That was lovely. That's what I do. My weekends are spent painting. Woody Allen today, and I know you're a bit of a fan
I'm a
as
huge
well.
Woody fan. You got to meet Woody, didn't you, once? Oh, no, you didn't.
It was sort of amazing and unusually disappointing. He did a film. I think it's his last one. I don't think it's come out here yet, but there's a part of a magician in it, and I'd heard on the grapevine, by which I mean Mel Smith's wife.
Mel Smith's wife.
I don't ask her, but she
That's
knew,
name dropping.
She knew that I might be in the list of people being vaguely considered for a short list of people to play that part.
Yeah.
So I was on in town at the time. By town I mean London.
Yes.
Doing a show, and he came to see it. I was told, look, he won't come by and see you afterwards, but so he came and just looked exactly like Woody Allen.
Yes.
in the stalls. Literally had the green jumper with the one collar out and
Sure.
the slacks, the corduroy slacks.
Yeah.
And he sat there inexplicably in a little sort of pool of light